we are doing a hot takes for Psycho Pass. So basically, the three of us watched season 1. So we're gonna go over season 1. This was Brent's first time watching it, my second or third, and Kyle's I think second. We'll give you our opinions, but Brent's opinion is kind of the more interesting right now. And then I've taken some notes, so we'll probably walk through some of those. I have some questions and some funny clips I want to show, and then we'll kind of just have a casual discussion afterwards on how it relates maybe to kind of real world stuff and things of that nature.
Yeah, Brent is gonna he's taking the affirmative of the most likely the hot take is what we're kind of assuming.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being put up on the sacrificial block right now. Not gonna lie.
If your fucking opinion's not stupid, then you won't. You know?
Here we go. I haven't even given one yet, and I'm already my way.
Do you want me to?
This is why I feel like I'm on the.
Do you want me to give my opinion first?
No. Let's get it out the way.
All right, because
you're already setting it in a bad way.
And I do.
You're
I'm
setting
already
it up
naturally on defense.
I do have my Waka Flocka fucking flame out, dude. So you should be scared. You should be scared because if it's a negative opinion, this is like my show, dude. Don't fuck with me. All right.
So I'm putting all my skill points in defense right now. Got it.
That makes me think you're gonna say something outrageous here.
I am naturally on defensive right now because no matter what I
don't know why. I don't know why you're naturally on defensive.
Really?
You're putting
you don't know why I'm naturally on defensive when it comes to you.
Bad energy in the air, dude. You are perpetrating this right now.
I'm really not. I'm just accepting the realization that if I don't say the show is great, I'm going to get roasted.
John said your opinion's gonna be just as bad as his or your take. That was John Hoover, by the way.
I don't know. He's not in his right mental state today, so I don't. That may be a little too far a stretch. I think this might be a little.
He's also
find your zen, Brent. And deliver this opinion. Let's go.
I'm at peace. It doesn't matter what I say. I'm just going to be at peace with it. Whatever happens from it, just know, chat, I predicted that no matter what I say, it's not going to end well. So I just made my peace with that, and we're going to proceed forward.
Okay.
All right. Psycho Pass, I will say... I was definitely, because I did try watch season 1 a while back ago, and I was not interested at all the first time I watched it. I liked the premise of the ideal first, but I could not get into it the first time I tried to watch it. That was in the past. I will say it is better than what I remember, especially as it goes on. There is certain details I did miss, though, during this season, and I'm not blaming the show, but I did fall asleep a lot. The maximum amount of episodes I could watch in one sitting was 6. By episode 6, every time, not the same episode 6, but every 6 episodes. Yeah. So after the 5th episode of watching, I started falling asleep in the 6th episode. And I don't know if that's a correlation of I was just overtired this week.
So, in your defense, okay, real quick, about the falling asleep, okay? Part of it, you probably were tired. Second part, though, it is a little bit about the show, and it's not because the show is slow. It is the amount of information and stuff that is going on and kind of the mental stimulus that the show gives, I think. Because, for example, they reference a lot of, philosophy and stuff, and they use a lot of language that is, I would say, very mentally stimulating. So... And you're trying to kind of...
to the point of obscure language, honestly, because it's some stuff that you just wouldn't say in normal conversations, which kind of makes it a little hard to keep.
I don't think that...
It's just a lot of deep thought. That's
what I'm saying. The show itself is a lot of deep mental thought of things. So yes, it is mental. It is a mentally draining show. I even feel that when I watch it. It wasn't as bad
Yeah,
the second time I watched it because I kind of knew what to expect, but it is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't necessarily feel it as like far as it puts me to sleep or whatever. I more get it to where a lot of times sometimes I'm just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Like, there is a couple of times where, they make references to, there's a lot of characters in this show and stuff. There's a lot going on.
See, I didn't have that.
Parts.
I did
so
not
sometimes,
have that.
sometimes I would get, well, yeah, I'm just saying, sometimes I would get kind of lost in the sauce to where I'd either have to back something up to like hear him say it again or something. And maybe it doesn't really happen too much, I will say, in season 1, but as you go on in the season,
that's
in my
fair.
opinion, that's where it starts to get a little bit harder. But because it's all very well connected.
Well, I do want to ask Brent.
Yeah, it's like
I wanted to ask Brent. So just overall storyline though.
Overall
storyline. You liked it? You liked it?
I did.
Okay.
I did
what do you
like
mean?
it. I think that there's maybe a couple spots I would have improved on.
Huh?
What? Yeah? Like what?
Like what?
I kind of like it was an interesting concept to everyone that has not watched this show.
Oh, yeah.
If you were like me,
we're doing our high takes for season 1.
I get that, but I'm throwing it out.
What would you have done better though? I don't give a shit about spoilers. What would you have done better? That first season is a masterpiece. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay. Chill. So I didn't see the Sybil system being all different brains. I didn't see that coming.
Sure.
Right.
But I also wasn't too big of a fan of that either.
Wait, what?
To figure out the thing holding society together is a bunch of criminals' brains?
It wasn't just criminals.
Yes, it was.
Everybody.
No, it's criminals.
No, they're not. They're not all criminals.
Yes, they are.
They're not
No,
they're not. They're not all criminals.
Yes, they
There's
are.
a lot of criminals mixed in.
No, they're all criminally asymptomatic, but not all of them committed crimes.
They never said that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, like that's the whole point. At the end, they get rid of all of the criminals.
They didn't do that in season 1.
I agree that they do say that in it because I do remember hearing that.
Well, criminally asymptomatic means they can commit crimes without their hue deteriorating.
Yeah, but how would you know they're criminal asymptomatic if they didn't commit a crime?
Because even if they had stress in their life, they never. They would always. Yeah.
I know, but how would you do that? They weren't doing that to people on purpose. At least not in season 1.
I mean, you could have your hue scanned out in the street, Blake.
Yeah, if
somebody. There's a situation
so you're saying Akame is asymptomatic?
No, she's not. Oh, the other way to know that somebody's criminally asymptomatic is if their psychopath hits 0.
Okay, well that could be fair, but they don't say that in season 1, so that's a far reach to say that they're not all criminals. But either way, the fact that the whole system is basically. Yes, like with criminal minds, pun intended.
Well, just has. I mean, you could just say that has criminal minds.
Okay, whatever.
Like
use whatever phrasage you want. That is a fucking twist. Okay.
Well,
and a good one.
It also
wasn't
supposed
a
to be
bad twist, but
no,
it just
also
wasn't
really.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
It just wasn't my cup of tea twist. Like it didn't. It was like okay. Like it didn't. Like once you started hearing more about asymptomatic criminals and that, where you could not get your hue increase and you had 0 like criminal coefficiency in that like like it's like okay, that doesn't like if you already have a villain that you show that has that doesn't surprise me then that there could be more people like that and
that they're running the city.
It's very rare, but it's also the other thing is too the reveal wasn't just only it was also like the thing is supposed to be an AI. It's supposed to be just an artificial intelligence. The reveal is that it turns out it's not. It's not just artificial intelligence. It's human brains. It's organic intelligence that is basically turning stuff like that, which is also very cool. And maybe this is a computer guy in me or something, but like you think about AI and it's something that we're trying to do, and kind of this is probably going into something Blake was. We can talk about later. We talk about like AI in general, right? The whole what we're trying to do with AI is basically make something as smart as us. Well, they took it and they started using human brains. So now you're having this, this merging of humans and AI, not controlling a whole society.
But
it's just like
I'm just confused. So okay, so you got hung up on that plot point for some reason. Okay,
it didn't get hung up. It just didn't tickle my fancy. Okay, I thought it wasn't bad.
What would you have rathered?
I don't know, to be honest. It just I feel like it needed something different than that. Like when it got revealed to that, I was just like, I was underwhelmed.
What?
Like I didn't.
That is not. I don't know if there's anybody else that could describe.
Okay, what's your overall rating?
That's a hot take.
Maybe that's what I want to know. What's your overall rating of the show? And if it's below, I won't even say what it's below. Yeah, just go ahead.
What's the
my overall rating for just season 1, and this is not a reflection of the entire show and series itself, since I didn't.
Have mercy on my soul.
God, I'm just stating. I haven't watched the whole series, so. For season 1, it wasn't a bad season. I'd give it a 7.5.
That's not bad. Why do you have to put all those quantifiers before it, man? You're stressing me out, okay? When you put that many quantifying statements, it sounds like you're about to give it like a 4.3.
No, it's not that. I'm stating this. It wasn't the most impactful. Like, there was a lot that I loved about the first season. Yeah, maybe
hit me with something that you liked about the fucking show.
I love the gore in it. Obviously, that's right up my niche. The artistry, like with the one killer that was turning
that is a reasonable number. Why do you have to put that many quantifying statements?
I thought that was really. That was designed really.
He had me terrified, John. He was like, well, just, don't kill me, but it's like, all right. So
like, what's the fucking complimenting the murderer's artwork? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a little weird. Okay, shit happens. Moving on.
All right.
Bro, we might need to get Brent's psychopath checked.
Yeah, right. Well, hell, Brent, that kind of leads me into one of my questions.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Let me finish what I like about it.
My fault.
Okay. I liked the psychology behind the show. Like, it was, like, again, watching the show, you kind of look and you're like, what would you do in that situation? Because so many people struggle with, like, maintaining the mental well-being nowadays and stress and everything. Like,
same. I was expecting like a 2. Yeah. I would have raged out.
You can't have an outlet like music even unless if it's approved, because it could do more damage to your psyche than normal. So it's a really weird environment that I like the premise of it. I thought that they presented that really well. I think if it turned more like what they were kind of leading towards with like a rebellion, and they started showing that a little bit more in season 1, I think I would have rated it probably an 8.5 at that point, maybe closer to a 9.
So that leads me back to you liked that part, and I'm not trying to pick. I'm just asking a general question. So you liked kind of like that whole part, but that to me led for me a more reason why it was so much more shocking, because this, like, the whole thing of like this whole society that they built where this thing kind of tells you what you can do, and it's monitoring your psychopaths, right? And it's supposed to be like this artificial intelligence that's doing this, but then to find out it's basically just a collective of people doing that was shocking to me, because it's criminals. Like, well, because of that incorporate that are criminals, and that it's just basically you're just being judged by a collective of people. It's like,
maybe
wait a minute, it takes like the whole society part, and you're like, well, wait a minute, now like, almost nobody would be cool with that, Yeah.
Okay. Well, and maybe this is why that didn't. Like, that kind of maybe bothered me more than it actually was like a cool, shocking twist. And that is, maybe it's my just overall distrust in people in general. Whereas, like, okay, yeah, people are making these rules up. That makes sense. Like, okay, not as... I almost wanted something...
Well, yeah, it wasn't
too much. Like, I want something more futuristic. Maybe even on the possibility of impossible. Like something so futuristic where it just completely is mind-blowing. But going back to it just being human beings, to me, is like, okay, that's not shocking that we came up with something this stupid.
Right. So, okay. So honestly, I think it had the actual effect because, I mean, obviously it's not supposed to be like a very cool, it's not supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be borderline like disturbing or, not disturbing, but like, yeah, it's almost kind of it is supposed to take it down a peg, right? You're supposed, at least in my opinion, right? You're supposed to view it, they're talking it up like it's this higher life form that is so perfect, right? That's what they're trying to talk it up as. It's this perfect thing that it's never wrong, and you're supposed to be able to just trust your psychopaths. And then to find out it's just basically a group of people or a group of collective minds. You're like, bruh, who gives them the right to do that, right? And I think that's even what Akane even brings that up, Like
I thought she was a good character, though. I will say her and
Kogami.
Yes, I thought that they were two really good characters. I even kind of had a little bit more respect to the other inspector towards the end of the season, and his dad. I thought that was a really good dynamic, which I'm upset that they ended that so abruptly in season 1. But I mean, I thought that
and it was so
the dad.
Yeah.
Oh, the dad. Yeah. No, that was a travesty.
Yeah, I was like, this was a really, like, you were seeing a good healing, like, revelation and evolution in the characters and that, and then it was 2 seconds and they just killed him off.
But part of the reason I actually kind of like Psycho-Pass is it almost gives you that Attack on Titan feel, like nobody's, to a degree, nobody's safe. Like, orange-haired guy died, dad died. It's like, you kind of thought those people were in it for, they're just going to stay in it.
Yeah, I thought that, I agree. I think that was good. Like, that was definitely something that was a good aspect to it. Because, yes, it is very reminiscent to Attack on Titan in that regards. But,
also,
I don't know. It just, like, you kind of would gain a good, like, a cool feeling in that, whereas, like, this, there's this reconciliation happening and that. And to just snuff it out like that was just like, you guys could have let that go a little bit longer to see the characters develop a little bit differently with it.
I'll be curious on how your opinion of that develops as Ginusa's character develops in the, like, even in just like the next season. I'd be curious to see how your opinion changes on that, because I think that like, to me, looking back, I'm just not to get too deep into first stuff, but it seemed like it was very necessary what they did, and it to me it makes sense. So I'll be interested to see if you come to that same conclusion or not. Okay. The other thing I was gonna say, I was gonna ask as a general question, as we're talking about, is like, what did you guys think of the main villain, or like what, Brent? I guess, what was your kind of full like opinion of the main villain, and like, if I don't know if you could rank him, but like, is he like a villain that you're like, he's super sick, or he's like, he's like mediocre?
He started off really strong, in my opinion. I thought he was going to be a
Mokushima or Moku.
It starts with an M. I can't think of it. But,
I think it's like Mokushima or something.
But either way, at the beginning of the show, for me, I thought he was actually a pretty good villain. Like, I thought there was a lot of interesting dynamic and everything. And then to kind of hear his, like, towards the end of the season, where Kogami kind of revealed his whole why he believes the guy is doing it, and it just being the guy being lonely because he like feels like he's not being included in society. I actually thought that knocked him down like 10 pegs to me. I did not like him as a villain at the end of it. I was like, that's so lame. I expected so much more depth than just that.
I mean,
that was a really lame depth of character at that point. You did this whole thing, this whole elaborate plan where you're recruiting all these different people that are like-minded and changing the system just because of loneliness.
No, but it wasn't because of that. It was because he was trying to get the system to recognize him. Because
who frickin' who?
No, hold on.
It's the same. That's the same thing if someone has daddy issues, and you're going to say that's a good main villain.
Dude, no, it's not, dude.
Bruh.
That's
just.
That's it. That's an outrageous take. But no, and the
That
reason
is
why
outrageous.
I think
It's a hot
the
take
reason
for a
you're
reason.
I know, but I think the reason you're wrong, or that I strongly disagree with that, is because it's not just as simple as like, oh, he was lonely. It's like, no, their whole society, again, it's like their whole society is now built around the Psycho-Pass and the Hughes. That's what determines your career path. That some of it they determines like who they fall in. You know, it can tell you like who you're supposed to fall in love with. It can tell you like all these different things, right? It's responsible for your entire life. You know, it basically makes almost every decision for you. So for the system to basically not recognize you because you're criminally asymptomatic, and it doesn't give you those things because it can't even really recognize you exist for the most part. It's like, yeah, that could drive somebody fucking insane. And then.
I'm sorry to interrupt in that, Kyle, but I'm going to have to at this point because I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact he still could move around freely everywhere. He was not a prisoner. He could go anywhere in the world that he wanted to. He did have multiple, like he was a music professor, even though illegitimate.
Yeah.
Kill somebody and steal our identity.
Yeah, to be a music professor.
He still had a job. Having that, like, no, he still had.
No, he was just trying to get. No, he was just trying to. He was like, well, fuck. It's one of those things of like, well, fuck it. If it's not gonna label me, if it's not gonna give me anything else, I'll try to be a criminal. And then he goes to be a criminal, and it still doesn't even recognize him as a latent criminal. So he's like. Well, fuck
so the man's get the best of the both world tonight. He's not a latent criminal. He can still wander around, do whatever the hell he wants.
Nah, this is outrageous, dude. I will not stand. I will not stand for this. I will not.
No, that is a. I'm sorry. By the end of the show, he was a weak villain. And
that's
John,
crazy.
What the hell do you mean?
That's crazy.
Jacqueline Phoenix's Joker has entered the chat.
I'm not sure, but all right.
All right, Blake. Well, okay, Blake. Let me. Can I get? I want to say. Can I get the counter? Like, what is your opinion of the main villain? And like,
I mean,
what's the flip? Like, what is your thoughts on? I think it's Makishima, by the way.
Yeah, it's interesting. To counter what Brent just said, I'm not sure. My overall opinion of the main villain is he's fucking sick. Okay, now. He's very, very, we're talking about the villain in Psycho-Pass, the main villain. Brent just said he's a lame main villain, so yikes.
He called Shogo Makishima, the main villain in the first season, a lame...
I don't apologize,
okay. But here's the thing. So what I think is very interesting about him is if you remove all the bad... And this is actually one of my questions, but if you remove all the killing that he did... I actually agree with his thoughts and all that stuff. So you could see like where he's coming from. He's a very understandable villain that just does horrific things. And then
the crazy thing is, go ahead.
I was saying you can also. I love the dynamic between him and Kogami, where Kogami can essentially see himself in what's his name? Makishima. And Makishima can see himself in Kogami and kind of see like what his life could have been like had the system recognized him. And it's like, I don't know, it's just very weird dynamic. And their dynamic is awesome. And he is awesome. And he's also a very smart main villain. He's incredibly smart. And
I agree with that. I'm not taking that away from him. He is very intelligent.
I think that goes to me something Blake was saying I was going to build off of is like part of the reason he is such a good villain to me is because it's not because he's just like crazy and like he's just doesn't know or whatever. Like, no, he is literally made himself very smart and he is like
what's Monster anime? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Monster. I've heard of Monster.
But yeah, someone in chat said that basically the main villain from Psycho-Pass isn't as good as John Libert. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, well, Monster is a psychological thriller, but it's not. I don't think it's kind of like Psycho-Pass, but not really from what I know of it. But Yeah, I don't know. He's just a very like. There's a word I'm looking for that I can't find for some reason. But
he's a very relatable character, in my opinion.
But he's also just very like he's so knowledgeable and everything. So it's like, to me, it wasn't like he just did what he did because he's crazy and just, whatever. It's like, no, he tried to search for the answer on his own, and he, studied and learned and did all these things, and he couldn't find the answers he was looking for, and that's what drove him to do what he did.
Okay, see, I don't get that from him at all, really. I just think he's essentially just completely disagrees with the way the system is, and the reason he does is because he has an outside perspective on the system, right, so he could see how it treats people and how indiscriminate it is to, even show you that from the episode 1 where they were gonna kill the girl who was kidnapped. So he can see like all the flaws in the system, and so yes, he wants to bring down the system because of that, and that's what I get from his motive. Not like he tried to find out how he fit, and all. I don't really think he gives it. I did not feel like he gave a toss.
He definitely does, because that goes to what Brent was saying about him feeling lonely. He did a lot of this because he felt lonely.
Kogami said that, but like,
that's why he started. I think that's why he started, and then that's why I was saying I think he's really, because again, I think he's so well versed in like theology and just psychology and just all of a bunch of these different studies, and I think when he started studying those, it was to kind of figure out his place and why he wasn't fitting in. And then at least that's how he started. And then that's how, maybe, they don't really say this, but that's what I got, right? Like, that's why he's so well read and so well spoken, and like he was kind of trying to find where he fit, and he was trying to find out why he wouldn't fit. And that's how I
don't really like that aspect, because that does make him seem a little bit like a bitch. But so I don't really like that. I just think I do agree what you're saying. Like, when he was a child, yes, I think Kogami said he was lonely when he's a child. Now he's basically I don't think he's lonely anymore. I just think he realized the system is outstandingly flawed. And then he's trying to spark a revolution.
I'm just saying, I think he came to those conclusions. He started because he was lonely when he was a kid. He started becoming knowledgeable and gathering information. Then he realized how broken this system was and said, yeah, this is garbage, tear it down. I think that's what he did. And like, because where he's at.
I just think he's a creepy dude that liked theology. I don't.
Could be too. I just wonder. Like,
I really don't like the angle that he was searching for his place in the universe, and I don't like that. No, personally, but maybe that's just me. But I don't care for that.
I just kind of like that he was smart. And he's not just like some crazy fucking lunatic that I can't track his motives at all.
Well, yeah, I like that he's smart for sure. I just don't.
That's kind of where
I just don't like that he's, like I said, the angle that he was like tried all this time to search for where he belonged and stuff. I don't think he spent a lot of time on it. I just kind of thought that's maybe why he's like started, like partly why he became as smart as he did. Is how he got his like initial start when he was like a kid or something, Maybe. And then it kind of I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. They don't really say that. That was just kind of my personal, like, how I kind of felt, when I watched it.
See, I think, and this is why I don't actually like that angle personally. I think, and this is one of my questions. I think that he was actually a psychopath, not a psychopath, a psychopath. And that's why you can't read his hue, because psychopaths, when they do things, they don't show any emotion or any forgiveness or reason why. I think he was a genuine psychopath, which is a play on words to the show Psycho-Pass. That was what I was thinking.
If that's the angle they go with, that makes him a little bit better. But again, that's not the feel that I got from it.
Because like a psychopath would be, even in society today, they would be weird. They would be outcasts. They wouldn't be like, really accepted because they would do random things. You'd be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's and
Well, yeah, I
that's
guess-
why
I mean, I
he
guess
was
like-
air quotes lonely.
I mean, I think by definition, yeah, criminally asymptomatic would probably be a psychopath. Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe all of them, but so that's why I don't think he was like, yeah, and maybe psychopaths do kind of do some soul searching. They're like, maybe he was like, why am I so different? I can understand that aspect.
Yes, that's more what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
That's what is more why. Then that's where I said when he went into the research. I guess my part is like I think there was some sort of
I do agree with that.
some sort of point where he was like, why am I the way I am? And he did like research to figure it out,
or just figure out why he's so different. Yes,
right. And then once he kind of figured out like. He basically turned around and was like, well, it's not me that's wrong. It's the system.
Right.
I'm not bad, or I'm not, whatever. And he probably actually is. That's where he kind of lost the plot. Is like he started to realize,
And I think that's why the show is actually so good, because you take somebody like Mokashima, or I probably butchered that, but whatever. Makishima. You take someone like him who is a genuine psychopath. Okay, and you're like, man, I really hate this guy. But then you kind of start to realize, wait, he's actually spitting a little bit because of how messed up the system is. So you start to realize, like, the system is so messed up that you start almost agreeing with the psychopath who are committing these terrible, terrible crimes, and you're like, what is happening?
That is a very interesting point that does happen throughout the show, right? Because again, you start off thinking that the system is perfect, right? They can kind of convince you that it is. Mm-hmm. So, well, they kind of do and they kind of don't.
I would say from episode 1, I did not think the system was perfect.
The system was good.
Okay, yeah,
never agreed with that.
Right, I was gonna take that back because the very first guy, it's like he's kind of like, well, if they think I'm a criminal, I might as well be one, And then it's like, well,
and then the girl,
see that logic, right?
The girl to me was why I never trusted it. They were gonna kill her, and she's the victim, Goochberg, So that was definitely my take on it. Like I said, I think he's a psychopath, and that's why the show is so interesting to me, and why I say it's kind of mentally taxing, because it's I think there's a lot of hidden elements to the show. One of my questions was basically, if you take away the actions of Makishima, do you agree with him? Or do you not? Does that make sense?
I get what you mean. If minus all the mass murdering and everything that he did, and that, would you agree with the system's broken and it needs to evolve and be pretty much destroyed and start again?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Would you have started a revolution?
130%. Yes, I would have.
Okay, hold on. So let me just clarify something too. At the very end, what I'm trying, because I don't want to say stuff from season.
What, he gets killed? That's the very end.
No, he does. But what happens with Akane?
She's still an inspector. She got a new recruit inspector. Yep, and
she's part of the whole thing now. She saw Sybil's brain and all that.
She made because she made the decision. Because that's what I was gonna say. I think Akane is basically asked kind of the same question. I think in the show.
Well,
right?
she did not make the decision to get rid of all the criminals.
And she's also saying that she's also saying that Sybil needs to be taken down, but they need to figure out the right way to handle it, where it's not going to cause
collapse society.
To the people. Yes. So she is even wanting to get rid of Sybil, but she needs to do it. Like, she's trying to figure a way to do it where it's not going to collapse society, like Blake said. So that's where she's at with it. And I agree with that angle too. Like, I wouldn't just tear it completely. I mean,
that
depends on the situation. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Depends on the situation. I was just saying, I kind of think based on what Blake's original question was of like, do I agree with Makishima and like to tear down the society? I don't know if I would completely like.
Well, would you start a revolution?
Would I start a revolution?
Yeah, would you
with the aim of what though? Like, what's the goal of the revolution? To like completely get rid of civil?
Well, typically the goal of any revolution is just to overthrow the people at the top and then figure it out from there. But so
Yeah,
basically,
that's
you
historically accurate.
overthrow it, and you could choose to take over civil or completely destroy it. Basically, once you have control, you could figure out what you want to do.
I don't know if, I guess because the only way to be able to make those is to overthrow it. Yeah, I mean, yes, I probably would start like some sort of revolution, but I don't know. I don't know if I would completely get rid of civil, but I would like to put some better restraints on it, so it's not just doing whatever the fuck like it thinks is best. Like, it should have like, there should also be a group of people.
It should have input, but it shouldn't have control. That's my thought.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's really good at a lot of different things, and it can definitely, it should be a tool that helps people, but it shouldn't be the thing that governs everybody. And I don't know why, even when they just think it's an AI, why they would ever just, I mean, I think it's just human nature kind of complacency, but I don't know. I would never feel comfortable with something like that just dictating my life. And even that feeling of like, oh, it determines you're a latent criminal, even though you may not have even ever done anything to be, considered a latent criminal, and it just does that, and they just lock you up, and then you almost never recover from it.
Right.
Like, almost never be able, like, almost nobody ever even stops being a latent criminal.
Right. Well, and
the reverse is like you get so worried about your hue that you take all this medication to suppress your stuff, and then you become like a vegetable. It's like, those are my options. It's like, and then but the other people just live their whole lives. Like even Akane, like she's not criminally asymptomatic, but like her hue doesn't change really. Like her hue is really hard to change.
Well, and I think the whole show kind of touches on a very important point. You should never do like preventative actions when it comes to like criminals and stuff. You should never do like, because that's essentially what they do. They do preventative where, oh, we think you're a criminal or you fit a mold, so we're gonna just say that you're a criminal.
So we're gonna treat you like a
criminal.
Yeah.
It always, unfortunately, it always has to be like reactive. Something has to happen in order, I think that's a very important thing that needs to remain.
That is that's a very important thing, because that is one, I think that's a huge element, right? I mean, it is a huge element in kind of their society. And yeah, they're basically proving it out in real time how that would never work. Because I'm sure that's been something that's been, I don't know, maybe talked about or something like, well, okay, at least you have to have evidence of somebody going to do something wrong. Because I don't think you have to, obviously you don't have to wait until somebody uses a bomb to consider a bomber. If they buy all the shit to build a bomb,
sure.
It's like, so you can kind of be a little bit of that, but you have to have the actual evidence to support it. You have to have some sort of whatever. You can't just look at somebody and, again, I guess to your point, right? You can't just based on if someone goes to therapy and they say they want to kill somebody.
Right.
Right. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to kill somebody. So you can't necessarily lock them up for having that thought or saying it out loud in a therapy session.
Yes, it is very hard and a very fine line to do preventative trying to think, authority or action. So, and then my other note I had is civil. Often, it seems like it's both right and wrong some of the time. So, like, what I mean by that is, like, basically, it does quite a few things right, but its main problem that I think it has is it can't read people's emotions or intent. So, basically, kind of what you were saying. Let's say I buy, I don't know, 2 of the chemicals to make meth, okay? Sybil's gonna be like, he's a meth dealer. But it doesn't know my intent is to clean my fucking bathroom. You see what I'm saying? And so, it's like and I think it's one of its main things it uses is like stress levels. I mean, it's not its only thing, but it's one of the main things. So it's like, That's very hard, dude. Like, think about how often you get stressed about something, and then you're just a criminal.
I think that would be the second biggest problem with Sybil. I think, honestly, the biggest problem with Sybil is the fact that it made everyone so complacent that then never, like, they didn't know how to react to things.
Yeah.
Like, prime example on that, there was that guy, like, when you first see the mask being used and that guy beat the woman in the street.
Yeah.
No one did anything but watch.
Right.
And that's because Sybil has made it to where it's like, oh no, it'll be handled and blah, blah, blah. It took away human nature completely.
Yeah.
The whole point of human nature is preservation of life. And Sybil just completely destroyed that, even to where the point where bullying, like, bothering people and that is acceptable because, oh, it's helped, like, they were stressed out at work. It's lowering the hues. You made a criminal because you didn't accept human nature and be like, oh, this isn't okay to do that. It made everyone complacent and lose a natural morality and sense of personal identity and safety because, like, oh, Sybil will take care of it. That is the biggest problem with the system.
Right. Well, and you want to know another thing that you kind of mentioned there without mentioning that I find interesting about the Sybil system. So, although you have these hues and perfect hues, and which means, you know, you would think with a system like that there would be no violence, there would be no turmoil or struggle, or you would get rid of the just, like, what do they call that with, like, inhumanity, just like the destructive nature, or like almost like the sin nature, you know, within people, right, to cause violence and, you know, chaos and whatever, destruction. But no, that's still so alive and well in the show. And to your point, they're basically committing acts of violence to lower their hue. But, like, how does that make any sense in, like, a perfect society where, you know, at this point where they're labeling latent criminals, which usually be your most violent people, they're catching those early, but then you have people that are
right. They're getting
past. I don't know. Like,
they're getting past.
They're getting past the system essentially, but they're not because their hue is not changing. It's like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You know, it's a very, very weird, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You would think that, you know, like, violence and crime and those things, you know, those things are supposed to be gone, but they're still alive and well even within the civil system itself, and it's being I don't know if it's being overlooked, but it's not affecting the people's hue somehow. It doesn't.
Ooh, another thing I think it kind of touches on as well is bad people, or people who want to do bad things, are always gonna do bad things. Like, so even if you do all this stuff to prevent people from doing bad things, a true criminal or, like, bad guy will find a way to do it. Which,
that's actually interesting as well. Yeah.
You know, and it's something that,
doesn't matter how many precautions and shit you put in place, all these scanners and all these different things to catch the people, like, they'll surpass the scanners. They'll fight, like, desperate people or people that are pushed into a corner. It's kind of like, even like what, you know, even like what a little saying like what Jamal said, right? Like, it's like, if you have a small budget on a movie, you know, it's where like the most
innovations made, right?
Yeah, it's like kind of the same thing. The harder the more restrictions and stuff you have on a criminal, the less they have to work with, the more creative and smart they're going to be. You're basically creating just smarter villains.
Well, and all you do is essentially disarm the people, right? So now the people cannot fight back, like you saw with Brent, like what Brent was saying. And they basically disarm the cops, because when you get a criminal asymptomatic person, they can't even shoot the motherfucker, which is why her friend died.
Right,
so...
exactly. And dude, okay, the crazy thing about the civil system too, the fact that the civil system, and this is also a flaw in it as well, the fact that the civil system is made up of criminally asymptomatic people, and they actively go out and look for more criminally asymptomatic people to add to civil, right? The fact that it couldn't do anything or didn't recognize, you know, it knew he was criminally asymptomatic, so why wouldn't it take an action to help Akane stop him? To either one, capture him right there alive and well with the Dominator, you know.
Yeah.
and to save an innocent person. That's the other thing that Civil doesn't do. It's like Civil itself doesn't actually, almost like it actually doesn't care.
Well, it doesn't
about
take into the
people
importance of
necessarily.
context, and yeah, I also don't think it really cares about the people either. Yes.
Which is weird because it's like it almost says it does. It almost says like it's doing this stuff in accordance with, you know, with creating the perfect society, right? That's what its goal, that's what it itself says its mission is.
Yeah.
But then the way it goes about it and the way it does certain things, it's like, well, that's not in accordance with creating a perfect society, or, you know, it still has that almost that Ultron level of like, well, the way to have a perfect society is just to kill all the humans, you know, like, bam, like Terminator level shit. Well, I don't know.
Speaking on that level, I do have a question for you guys, because this does happen in the show, and I'm just kind of curious on what your thoughts are in chat. I'm curious to see if you have an opinion on this, because they are starting to actually evolve humans into being more robotic in the show, because people are able to transfer everything from, like, they can go up to their brain, and their nerves can be completely moved from their body to an android. So they are moving towards that system. Is that something that you guys, if let's say our technology ever got to that point, would it be anything that you guys would do, or do you think that that's something that we should just never touch?
Doing robots, I think all robotics should be exclusively for people who are amputees. That's my thought.
Yeah, I don't ever think we should get to like full body modification or like transferring consciousness or the brain to extend life.
Humans are meant to die, okay? That's
that's like, just kind of, to me, that's kind of like, that's
and biblical. They still die even when they do have the transplant, because the human brain, according to the show, is only good for 150 years. So what's your cutoff point to, okay, that you put your whole, like, you put your brain, you put your nerves into the robot, but the robot's only going to live for 150 years. Is that still acceptable, or is that beyond life expectancy?
I mean, like, I just think that
for something that I would do.
Yeah. For something that you would agree with, is 150 years too long for a human to exist for, or is that an acceptable range?
I don't think 150 is too long, but I do think, like, we just have a genetic limit, my guy. Like,
that's kind of what I was
it's you could just see, and this is not like a bad thing, but you can see just mental cognition go down after a certain age, and that's for a reason. So what, you're gonna get, let's say you live to 100, right? Your mind's essentially toast. If there's a 100-year-old that's like writing sophisticated programming, let me know and I'll check them out. But like, so you're telling me you want another 50 years of kind of just meh? Like, that doesn't seem very enticing to me.
Yeah, right. So for my kind of view is like, I feel like what they're doing is they would be you're basically essentially removing your natural, like, when you would naturally die by doing that, right? So like, I think that's technically wrong. Like, I think everyone has a time in a place where, you know, when their lives up. So it's like, I think that, like, by getting rid of the whole body, you're getting rid of the element, the kind of the unexpected element of when you're gonna die. You know what I mean?
Now, go ahead.
I'll just say, now, something that could be useful, and I could see a use for this, is basically you somehow do a scan of people's brains, not to keep their consciousness, but to extract all the information that is kind of exclusive to that person. It's like, for example, like Albert Einstein, right? If you could have done a scan of his brain and got all of his equations and whatever, like pulled those out, that might have some merit, because you'd have better records of, like, maybe stuff he didn't write down, or maybe stuff he was thinking about but never physically wrote down, and then now it's just lost to time. Like, that could be useful. But
okay, well, now to play the opposite side of, like, the people that had, say, maybe hey, oh, living 150 years isn't bad, and that because if you look, human evolution has already done that because our life expectancy has continuously evolved and gone forward even more. Back in the day, I would be considered elderly at 32. I would be on death's door right now. But now life expectancy is longer. Is that natural evolution going into it? Where Psycho-Pass is actually right, where 150 years may not actually be that bad because it's just humans evolving, or are we actually still in the wrong for trying to reach that far?
So it's
that's an interesting. I don't want to cut you off. That is an interesting point, but I also know too, like, because our how long we lived is fluctuated. We used to live back in biblical times. We used to live super long, right? Like you used to live for hundreds of years, and some people did, right? And then there was a point where it was intentionally short. You know, our lifespan was capped basically, and then yes, because of the conditions, it wasn't necessarily. I don't think because we evolved. I mean, I guess we evolved a little bit, but we didn't physically evolve. But our conditions got better, is why we could even people back then. Yes, 30 was kind of old or considered older, but that wasn't necessarily because we had a biological cap to our. It was no, there was just more. There was more danger. Like we didn't have the housing that we had. We didn't have the kind of food that we have. There was a lot more wars going on. There was a lot more.
There's also mental evolution because there was new discoveries into different things that help people avoid certain things. Like,
there was medicine and stuff.
Yeah,
but
so
medicine, but that wasn't for. I don't think it was. I don't think we had a mental cap. I don't think by 32 we were 80-year-old mentally. I don't think that. I think that it was more of a. We didn't have necessarily the food that we had. There was disease and other illnesses that we couldn't cure that were really common. Like people used to die from just a common flu, common cold that would kill people. So I don't think. I think really the advancements that we made was in maybe technology, medicine, stuff like that, which has allowed us to live to our full potential. But I don't necessarily think that that's something. I don't know.
My thing is there's completely nothing wrong with striving to live longer, but it all just depends on your brain, in my opinion. Like I said, if we start getting people up to the 120 ranges, right? And we're and they're good, they're out playing fucking basketball and picking up their great-great-grandchildren, then fuck it, dude. Have at it. But like I said, if you're just got somebody bathing you and you're living off ventilators, it's okay, well,
I guess but
maybe we don't do that.
To the point of the original question, though, is if we had other if these autonomous or these AI
but even his brain was going to die at 150 unless he digitized it.
Right. Well, that's what Brent, which they couldn't do or whatever.
Well, not yet, but no, I know, but I'm just saying, okay, whether you want to go cyborg or not cyborg, I mean, that is a little bit here nor there, because you even do that now. I know a guy who basically had to have a whole heart valve removed, and they put a metal one in. Is he a cyborg? I mean, I don't think so, but it's one of those things. I mean, I guess I wouldn't necessarily knock somebody if as things started going bad, they started replacing them with cybernetic parts. I wouldn't really knock them for it. But you just got to think, is there a purpose? Does it really benefit your life at a certain point to live longer,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fair. Now, okay, the only thing I'll also make note of, if people did start living to 150 with mechanical bodies and all this other stuff, I will say there would have to be a cap, or there would have to be certain things to okay. No, I'm just saying to certain things.
151. We're killing you in the street.
Not on how long you live, but I'm talking about a position or a title you could hold. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can't be 150 years old and still in the government, or still a politician, or or like you gotta let a new motherfucker come in, okay? Like you can't just have your job for locked in for 150 years or some shit, like, oh yeah, I got this job when I was 50 years old, and I'm still the owner of it 100 years later. It's like, no, dude, you have to retire by like 70 or some shit, like,
Right. Okay, now I have to make the conversation a little more humorous. I have a clip that I wrote down that was pure unnecessary aura farming from Kogami. Okay, it served no purpose. I was watching this and I was like, dude, what is the Mandem doing? Okay, like
and not quite as wild as those in Gibson's either.
Philip K. Dick, huh? Never read him. So if I wanted to check him out, which one should I read first?
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? It's a classic.
There's an old movie based on that, isn't there?
The content's quite different. You should compare them when
you
you
remember
have
this
time
part,
someday.
Kyle?
Yeah.
Then I'll go ahead and download it right now.
No. Find the paperback. Ebooks lack character.
Got all the same words, don't they?
Physical books are more than the words they contain. They're also tools to stimulate your senses and adjust your thinking.
How do you mean?
When I don't feel well, I'll stare at a page forever before realizing
was
I haven't
Aura.
absorbed a word. When that happens, I try to understand why. What's gotten in my way? On the other hand, there are books I can take in effortlessly, no matter how awful I'm feeling. Why do those books draw me in? I think it may be a sort of mental tuning. It's the feeling of the paper against my fingers, that familiar smell of pulp and glue, the momentary stimulation to my brain when I turn each page. These sensations regulate and focus my brain. They make it work better.
Well, that's discouraging.
Yeah. No, that
I mean,
yeah. So the crazy thing is like I actually know what he's talking. I actually have felt what he's talking about, and I think people that read, and I don't read very many books, right? Like I'm not a huge like book guy, bookworm. I would say I actually do enjoy me a good audiobook. However, for me, like the Bible specifically is where I've felt this the most. It's like when you're holding it, it just you have a sense that you have a different feeling. You have like what he's saying, and sometimes you will stare at a page and you won't understand. And like he's doing great critical thinking there, like why am I, and that's why again it also goes to his character and why I think he is very self, I don't know. It's a fantastic thing. I love it.
It really like it. It makes you basically forget how bad of a guy he is when he does stuff like this or talks like this. It's like, dude, this guy's like a very well-adjusted, like cool guy. Like what? And then you're like, oh wait, he's killed quite a few people in some gruesome ways. And it's like, okay, well, damn, So I'm surprised you didn't like him a little more, Brent, because to me he fits in with Akahio. He's like one of the ones you kind of hate to.
So
hate to love,
the literacy of him I thought wasn't bad. It was just again what I got from his reasoning for what he did is what kind of just to me and how I interpreted it as is what killed it for me.
I mean,
like,
gotcha.
He wasn't. Point, though, go ahead.
I was just saying he didn't start off as a bad villain, in my opinion. I thought he was actually pretty well written. I liked the literacy of him. I thought he had a lot of intelligence. I know he's got a lot of intelligence as far as being able to devise plans and things like that, make different actions. But just, again, when the way I interpreted the ending with his reasoning for what he did, my interpretation came across very lame. It was like
again, I don't know if Makishima actually said that was his motivation. I think I get to Blake's point. That was like Kogami that,
and
he didn't deny it.
I mean, like I said, I think it's kind of two things. I think, like I said, at the very beginning when he was young, because I'm pretty sure that's what he was referencing. That's how it started. But I genuinely that's why I truly like to look at him as like a psychopath. Like,
yeah,
he's just doing it because he likes to do it, or like, or he doesn't understand why it's wrong. I guess is what I'm.
I also, I don't.
That's
think
how
he
I like to
liked
look at him.
I don't think he likes or dislikes to do it either.
I think he likes to do it. I definitely think he likes to do it.
I don't get that. Never got that feeling that he like enjoyed doing it. I felt like he just was doing it like
for the love of the game. For what?
Yeah. Like I really it's kind of. I don't feel like he had like his reason. I mean, his reason was to kind of figure out. I think what Civil was. That was. I mean, that was that he was trying to figure out why.
Okay.
Why.
Then he got told what Sybil was later on, and he still.
And then he wanted to bring it down. Yeah. Then he.
Yeah.
Right. But after. Yeah. But I'm saying. The reason why he was doing what he was doing was.
Yeah.
It was to make Civil recognize him. That is like.
To be fair, I actually kind of like to think about it as he really didn't have much of a reason. That's kind of how I like to think about it. But
he definitely had a reason because his whole plan was like.
I think his whole plan was just
that, so that way he could get into Civil.
To a degree, yes, but also I think his actual motive was just to allow people to do whatever they wanted to do, even if it was outside of Civil's, thoughts on it.
But I think he was living vicariously through them because.
I mean, not really. He could do whatever he wanted.
He could, but he wouldn't be recognized by Civil for doing it.
No, I think he did not want to be recognized by Civil. I think he wanted other people. No, I think he wanted other people to not care what Civil thought and just act on impulse, on human condition. And he actually does say that exact thing, that he just wants human to act on raw impulse. And that's why I think he just acts on impulse. He just does whatever he wants to do. And he wanted to take down Civil. Yeah, could it be because he was lonely? Sure, but that was just his raw, impulsive emotion.
He only wanted to take down. That's the thing. I don't even think he really cared to take down Civil. Like, I think you're saying maybe it was an impulse thing, but he was just gonna do it because he wasn't like upset.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I will say that's why I was saying he was living vicariously through some of these people. He liked to watch.
Other people live.
Other people. I know, but also other people. Yes, other people break from the system.
Yeah,
but. I think it was partially because yes, there wasn't any necessarily reason behind it, but I think there was another part of it where also because he couldn't be recognized by the system, he liked to see that, they were he liked to break people from it, I guess.
I don't know. I think I found this is my description of what I think the relationship between him and Sybil is. I'm gonna share my screen, but let me switch my my thing over because you guys are not going to like me for this.
I genuinely just think he just wanted to act on human emotion.
I mean, we're basically saying the same thing. Like I'm adding one. Okay, dude, where's derailing the whole conversation with right now?
Because this is not him. This is him. No,
that is him and Sybil. That is my headcanon of what their relationship and what motivates him.
He just wants to do whatever he wants to do.
What was that stick ass video in the middle there? Hold on. You see that recommended video?
That epic thumbnail?
That sick ass. Yeah, it was a dope thumbnail.
The one that was 40 fingers, 2 fingers, or Psycho-Pass Forever.
You're not sharing your screen, but yeah, it was our video. Yes.
Never mind. Moment gone.
Fault, yeah, but he just wanted to live by human impulse. That's it. And then he wanted other people to do that too by breaking away from Civil.
Yeah, but but what I was saying, he lives vicariously. He got enjoyment from watching that, or
by freeing people. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I don't think it was freeing. I don't necessarily think. I don't think it was the act of freeing them he enjoyed. I think he just liked
the act of them living by just impulse. Yeah, it was.
But I guess. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying though. He was living vicariously through.
No, he wasn't.
Them though.
He wasn't using them to do something that he couldn't do. No, he wasn't.
Yes, he kind of was. Though. Well, he was because
do what they wanted to do. I know,
but here's the thing. He could never break free from the system.
He didn't need to.
He was never a part of the system. I know, so that's what I'm saying.
He did not care that they were a part of it and then broke free from it.
I think he did a little.
He
bit.
just wanted to free people and have them do whatever they wanted to do, whether that was kill people or whether that was start a coffee shop. I don't think he cared.
But I agree. He was not living vicariously through them.
Yeah, I do not really think that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's literally adding one component. I don't know why we're getting like so hung up on it. I'm adding one component to what the overall, like, to what you're saying. 'Cause yes, we're saying the same thing. We agree, except for I'm just saying he could, like, yes, I think he.
I mean, that's
did
a pretty
get
big.
A little bit of extra to. No, it's not that big of a.
Yes, it is.
It's a pretty big It's a pretty big alteration in his mental, like what he was trying to accomplish. It goes from being a sad little boy freeing people, having the system not recognizing, to be like, I don't care about the system. I just want to free people.
I'm not. I had never said anything about him being a sad little boy.
I'm just saying that's what it gives off.
I'm not trying to apply that at all.
But it's
by saying that
just comes with that.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I don't know. Chat. I kind of like. I mean, I would be interested to see if other people see like what I'm saying, because I don't think maybe I'm not communicating it correctly or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, because to me it's literally the same thing of what you guys are saying, just adding the one little.
But then why add the one little thing if it's the same? You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. There is a difference. But either way, I think that in and of itself, the fact that we cannot quite pinpoint why he was doing what he was doing, makes him a very interesting character, because everybody can watch the show and get their own kind of interpretation of his motives and that stuff. And I do want to say, really, I don't want to go into it, but this show, just everything we've talked about the the preventative and the people making decisions for you, it has a lot of it's definitely a mirror to real life in some aspects, which is very interesting, especially when the topic of like revolution comes up. It's like it's interesting.
Revolution or like you kind of even like the whole, even like a bunch of like government intervention, right? That being a type, like, how much power is too much power to give to something, an entity, any entity, the government or a person,
how much
like that,
as you as a person, how much are you willing to put up with / give up, for the sake of comfort or something,
right. Or the lack of choice. Also,
it's very interesting.
And I think they bring this up. I think maybe Makishima says, or somebody says it, but like, what kind of is life without choice?
Yeah.
That's something that I can't remember who says it.
Yeah, that was Makishima for sure.
It is Makishima, yeah. But it's like, what, and that's a very interesting question. What is life without
I think he says choices? Free will, actually.
Choice is free will. It's kind of the same thing. But it's like, yeah, if you're not making choices, if you're not that are basically that alters your life, are you living? And like, yes, maybe you could have sometimes you could say it may or may not be easier if the answer was given to you, well, but then are you living, or are you just, it's a very still philosophical question.
The beauty is, so in the scene you're talking about, Kyle, Akame, what's her name, the main girl,
Akame.
I thought it was Akame.
No, it's not
a. No,
it's not Akame.
It's Akane.
Akane. Okay, yeah. Akane. She rebuttals though, or has essentially a flashback of the girl that he killed. And the girl that he killed, her friend, was basically like, I could have been happy in this system. Like, he didn't need to do essentially what he did. So like, you could still even though you can't decide everything, you can still be happy. Essentially, I kind of took it as like, you could be happy no matter the situation. It all kind of depends on you. So like, she could happily lived in the system, however flawed it was, and she was fine. And he was living in the system and was like, this is shit. So it's like, or living outside the system, I guess. But so it's like, it also brings up the point of perspective. I think
that's also situational too, though. Like, if you're in the good class of it where you're not having to getting thrown into jail for something you can't control.
No, sure.
As opposed to the other, like her Hugh was always good.
No, the friend was a C. She was like middle class. She was like middle class.
She was middle class, but I mean, she still had a good Hugh. She wasn't having to worry about having to go get locked up and that because a psychopath read too high or something. Whereas a criminal like that did have the psychopath too high, that system is messed up. So it's you can find happiness, but depending on the situation and that, because if you're completely branded as a social outcast because of a rule that someone else put into place.
But that's why I said it's all about perspective. That's the whole kind of key to that. Yes, the criminal or person that was labeled as a criminal, he's having a fucking horrible time. But you got little old Akame's friend who's like, dude, I love it. I got all these fancy gadgets. I, just live a normal standard life and go about my business. I'm good. Like, it's, and I think that's just kind of what I'm trying to say. Is like, it's all about perspective, right? So like when you talk to people, don't assume that they have the same perspective as you on things, and you're going to be a lot more better off when you start a conversation that way about just keeping perspectives in mind, because it makes a ginormous difference.
Yes, I agree with that 300%.
Yeah. I guess I wonder, just to tie it kind of back to the original thing we were talking about, like the thing of choice, though. It's like, I guess how much do you think, I know perspective ties into that, but like even without it, yes, she could live happily in that, but could she have been more happy if she had the ability to choose?
Well, how can you tell somebody if they're more happy or not?
No, I mean, I understand it's a very hard thing, but I guess just overall, like, I guess would you rather, like, I guess personally in this call, like, would you rather some of the answers just being given to you, or would you rather go through that journey?
Yeah, hell no. No. Like, me, if somebody tried to take my control away, I'm bringing out the blicky. Like, yeah, no. But like,
yeah, because I'm that way too. Like, I think I wouldn't, because to me it would make life seem a little bit more pointless.
But
right?
you want to know what's interesting?
If given to me, then I would just.
You want to know what's interesting though, Kyle?
Why do it?
But the interesting thing is, you and I can say that because we have good jobs, we have houses, we have cars. Now imagine. I know, but now imagine you have a guy who's maybe had a hard stroke at life and all these bad things have happened to him. Well, if somebody can just come in and be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Like, you're always going to have this middle of the class job that you're never going to get fired from, and here's your house. To him, he's going to think it's the best thing in the world, choice or no choice.
Yes, but here's another flip side to that. I feel like there's some, imagine somebody that was really bad like that, but then clawed their way out of it and now has a good life. If you were to ask that person, would you have not wanted the bad stuff to happen to you? They would have said, yeah, the bad stuff sucks, but like the lessons that they learned from it, or the lessons from the choices that they made, help them become the person who they are.
There's a million different cases, but that's why I'm saying perspective. It's all perspective, dude. Like, yes, to that guy who clawed his way out of and beat adversity, yeah, he's gonna be like, dude, the hard times made me who I was, and I'm so thankful for him. But the guy who was a $1 million CEO who just got fired and now is homeless, he's gonna be like, man, I wish.
I know, but you're saying perspective, but I'm saying I think there's still the average or the majority. I think the majority of people would say that they would rather be able to have those choices, either good, with the good and the bad. They would rather that than to give up their choices entirely. I think the majority of people would say they would rather have the ability to choose for themselves.
This is what I'm going to say on it, because I don't agree with either one of you, honestly. I have an alternative option. Yeah, Yeah, I know, right? I actually have a middle ground. This is what I think most people would do. Because I do see bits of what both of you guys are saying that I agree with both. But the way that I see what most people would do is they don't want all the answers handed out. They just don't. Because, again, you learn from experience. You become who you are, good, bad, or whatnot. That is it. But if there was a little bit of a nudge of some sort of guidance to make sure that, like, not to exactly tell you this is what you need to do, but to kind of be like, okay, like, to alleviate some of the stress, like, you know, oh, you got people that are worried that they'll die alone, never find this, this, or this. There's a little bit of guidance to be like, no, you're like 100%, you are going to find someone, and this amount, like maybe the next 10 years.
But you're saying people want fortune tellers, accurate fortune telling.
Yes, and I'm one of them. I will be the first one in the damn booth with the fucking crystal ball. I'm there for it. Let's do it.
And don't get me mistaken. I'm not saying Sybil's right. I don't want it to get twisted into that.
No. And I'm not saying that either. And I mean, and again, I think that the majority of people would like a little bit of a nudge to know that they're actually in the right direction with the choices they made. Obviously, but still be able to make the choices that you are going to make because that makes you the person that you are. But,
but I don't know though. Yeah. I still I kind of just even disagree with that a little bit for me because if I think about it right, and even if there was somebody that told me, like you talk about kind of crystal ball, like meeting somebody or something, like I'm sitting there thinking, this thing is telling me that we're good, but like, are we? You know, I'm going to have this thing in my mind. Did I get this thing or did this person actually like me because they like me or because the civil system told them that I was their perfect match? It's like, there's
never said that it told you by name.
I just said that, but it's going to tell you, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to tell you that you're going to find somebody or whatever. It's just kind of, I don't know, but it's just like,
you can still choose the wrong person in that time frame. It's just saying in that time frame, you still might you have a higher probability of finding.
But how did that go for the guy? Asaka was right, bro. Aunt Wu fucking told the guy to wear red shoes. God. And how long have you worn those shoes since she told you that?
Every day.
It's like that's the shit that's gonna, like that. That to me is like that's why that doesn't work because it's like.
Okay, you're throwing human stupidity into the mix, and yes, there's no actual calculation for human stupidity.
So it's almost like if you had perspective or something.
Oh my god!
Like it depends on the person, or
can we ban that word for the rest of this fucking stream?
No, because that's what you guys are talking about. Some people want everything handed. Some people want to work their ass off, and some people want to mix somewhere in the middle. I know that's still a perspective.
No, but I still stand 10 toes down that the average amount of people, if you were to ask them, like, you have option A and option B for a system that tells you, that gives you everything, because that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a middle ground. We're talking about.
Wait a minute. Why are we only stuck with 2 options?
Because we're talking about the show. And and I'm referencing.
And you don't know that the show doesn't have a middle ground somewhere? They just never employed that action,
bruh.
We're just assuming that.
That's a stretch.
What are you talking about?
That's a stretch.
I'm saying, like in the show, there is either we have the civil system, right, and we don't. And
that's a different question.
Okay. Yeah,
that's a completely different question. Because the obvious answer is just not the civil system. Yes.
Yep.
Well, okay, 100%. But I'm just saying
that's just
at the root of what the civil system is, it's taking the option of choice away, and so that's why I was posing the question, like, would people rather something like the civil system?
This is a different question because nobody would rather have the civil system.
It's the exact same question. That was the original question.
Was it? Maybe it was, but
I don't feel like it was.
I don't quite feel like it was.
What did you guys think the question was? That's what I was literally saying. Is like if people were asked the question, would you want something to tell you make the choices for you, or you want to give away, give up your ability to choose, or would you rather make the decisions, all the good and the bad and the ugly, and yes, you've been, you went through some terrible stuff, but you got out of it and now you're stronger for it, or would you want something to just kind of tell you what the right decision is? And I feel like most people would say that they would want to, keep the ability to choose for themselves.
If we base it with the premise of the show with the Sybil system, then yes, I agree. No one's going to want fucking.
Okay. Yes, I do think majority of people would want that, but it's hard to say that like everybody would want it simply for the fact that you got like, I don't know. I think of some of the people that are like in very bad spots or like, and they just been that way. They grew up in fucking, I don't know, terrible condition. They might just want somebody to come in and clean,
But I don't think so. I mean, like, I think maybe for an instant gratification thing, but in a long-term thing, I think they would rather have.
So yes, now I definitely think that is maybe a good point to add. I think once someone comes in and kind of gets all their shit in order, yeah, they're going to want them to go fuck off somewhere and let me handle, business. But like,
so, but yeah, but then, how could you have your cake and eat it? Like to me, that's a little bit of having your cake and eating it too. It's like, oh, well, you were in this bad situation. You couldn't get yourself out of this bad situation.
Yeah.
So you wanted something to just tell you what the right answer is, and then now you wanted to just you think that you could be able to make continue making the rest of the good choices yourself.
And I think that's what Brent. I think that's kind of what Brent was saying is like. I mean, it's not arrogance. A lot of people want a safety net. They want to know if I do this thing, the whole world isn't going to come crashing down on me and I'm just fucked. They want like, a little.
Yeah, but some of that though is like that's what life is about. Life about taking risks, and
it just depends on how bad the consequences of the risk are. But anyway,
well,
we're getting long in the tooth on this topic. But I think most people just want some sort of a safety net. I think that is what most people want. And like I said, if we're just talking about civil, then yes, most people would just say, I'd rather not have it. I'll be better off alone, even if I fuck up.
That's weird. That's weird that we kind of were drawing this like almost dual dichotomy of like, because what you're saying is like people want the civil system, but they want it in a different way, I guess.
Agreed. Yeah, I do think
that's 100% that.
I think that's how the civil system probably got brought about in the first place. I think there was kind of a want for something like that, and then it got kind of too out of hand, and people didn't realize it, and now you just can't fight against it. It's like, okay, well, fuck it. I guess.
Right. Yeah, but also just kind of bringing around too, which is very interesting. We kind of got into this kind of a deep of a conversation because that's also, I feel like that's what the show kind of does, right? The show does it, right? And then I think it starts to make you think about some of these things that lead into these very interesting conversations that you can get from this show, because there's just so much of this,
the mirror into real life,
and and then like how would, like Brent said at the beginning, like how would I do this? How would I handle this situation? Which just makes this show, it just makes it so good, and it just continues on throughout the rest of the show as well, which is cool.
Yeah. Now, I'm wanting to switch gears on that because I think we beat the dog shit out of that that topic of Psycho Pass. So, what are your guys' character ratings on some of the cast in Psycho Pass? And that, like, what would you give? Or because you asked me what my opinion was on the main, what would you give, like, some of the actual heroes in the supporting cast? Do you think that they were actually good protagonists and good supporting cast, or do you think that some of them are like Gabi from Attack on Titan?
So I think we have to do that really quickly. Can we just define who the main character is, I would say
That's so hard because it's between Koga and freaking what's her name and that. Like those.
Definitely Akane is the main character.
Yeah.
And okay, so she's the main character, Kogami supporting character or co-main?
I'd say co-main.
Maybe almost like a Bakugo.
think-
Like Bakugo's very much a co-main, I feel like.
Well, I think he's supporting just because.
Okay.
So maybe he's he might you might really consider him co-main for the first season, but after that he's supporting character.
Well, we're only talking about first season, so
I know. I'm
focus on
just.
that.
Well,
I
yes.
understand. I'm just saying. I don't know if you want to define him as a supporting character because
Okay,
for the
so
rest of it he is a supporting, or if you want to just focus
I'd
on.
just
fine.
on season one.
that's
I'd
fine.
say
We could
just
do
season one.
I mean, even with season 1, we could just say he's supporting Akane's main. That's
Yeah.
fine. Akane, I think, is she's a great
Give me
main character. I don't think she would be as good without Kogami though. So I think that speaks to his supporting more than it speaks to her main characterness. That makes sense.
What like let's
The
break
first
it down
season,
to
I
the
definitely
basic.
agree.
Yeah, let's break it down to the basics of terms as far as like the rating.
Okay.
Hey, we'll go with our S through D.
Okay.
If you had to give her a rating S through D, where would she stand on the rating for main character?
Oh, that's hard because I don't know the scale. But like I know the scale, but like, who would fit a S
Yeah.
tier? But I'll. No, it's doable. Let's think about this for a minute.
Now, I'll start it off because I kind of got my idea where I'd put her.
Mm-hmm.
So that way gives you a little. That way you guys can toast me or whatever the hell. I don't care. But
Mhm.
I personally would put her at a high B. I think she was not. I like the character development that she had in season 1. She started off very shy, timid, a little unsure if she was good enough for the job that she was in. Kind of seemed over her head about the work she was doing.
Yeah.
But by the end of the season, she was way more confident. She was way more assertive. Knew what her place was
Yeah.
as far as like what she wanted to do, had clear intentions and everything. I think she was like, again, not one of the best main characters in a show that I've seen, but in just this season, I'd say that she's probably a high B.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think because like okay, this is just what I'm thinking, and then I'll kind of explain why in a minute. So I think I agree with her being a high B, but I would put Kogami at an S for supporting, and together I think they are both A, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. And I can see a logic behind that.
Yeah, because like without her, Kogami is still a great character. Without Kogami, she would be pretty nerfed. But when they're together, they have like really good chemistry and just make the show like the show would not be able to happen if either one of them wasn't there. So I think just both A.
Well, yeah, and to your point, actually, I think Kogami actually doesn't do almost half the stuff that he does in this show if it wasn't for Akane, because in the
Yes.
very first episode, like Kogami is checked out. He's just following whatever the civil system says. He don't care, and it literally after she basically shoots him and stops him from killing the victim is when he basically starts kind of becoming a detective again and starting to feel like and not just letting civil determine his fate. He basically gives him hope again.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that makes to me that speaks to her as a good main character, right? Especially since like she was, like Brent was saying, she was so nervous on the job, but she was still able to make the right decision.
Yeah.
So that and then to see her kind of evolve, especially after her friend dies, is like a really big turning point for Akane, I think. She kind of just switches to like kind of what Brent said. I think she kind of gets a little bit more colder, like she starts becoming more like Kogami at that point, which is kind of nerve-wracking for like Ginaza, because she doesn't want him to turn out exactly like Kogami and become a latent criminal, but she's got that fire under her that she wants to catch the main.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're both A. That's what I would like to. And like I said, the ranking only really works if you pair them together because of how they bounce off each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I mean, it makes complete sense because individually they have some strengths that are very good, but they do have some major drawbacks individually.
Yeah.
So I think together, though, if you were to put both of them into the same category, they would equal out to an A.
I think that is true. So I kind of think we've thoroughly dived into the first season of Psycho-Pass.
I will ask one more thing about
yes.
Psycho-Pass, actually, before we switch off of it.
Mhm.
And it's just because thinking in my head of like the Crunchyroll Anime Awards and that, what do you guys think of the artwork style that Psycho-Pass actually had? Would it have been a strong contender for like artwork style of the year if they had that as a category?
Back when first season 1 came out?
When season 1 came out, would it be something that should have, if there was a category for best overall artwork design for a show, do you think that should have been nominated? I think it was just a good nomination and not good enough to win.
Let me see.
I think the art style is good, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily winning awards.
Let me see when it came out and what else came out, because that kind of plays a big part.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Point.
That is a very fair point.
Magi SAO came out in 2012. High School DxD.
Ooh.
High School DxD came out in 2012. That's crazy. Okay, so there wasn't that many shows. So you got JoJo, SAO, High School DxD, obviously Psycho-Pass, and Magi. So I think, honestly, not sure about the animation, but it definitely, I think maybe, I think it would have been Anime of the Year, in my opinion, for 2012.
Over SAO.
Yes.
First season of SAO?
I think it definitely would have best story.
No, it'd be Anime over the, it would beat SAO for sure. 100%.
Yeah, it might. I mean,
why would SAO be it?
Action, just the action, and it is kind of a unique story. It was like
action. I mean, SAO's action is mid tier at best, but
action and story. But I know, but for 2012, man, if that was the only thing that was like, people love SAO, man. I don't know. I think SAO probably would have won Anime of the Year because of the story and because of the.
So, okay, yeah, if I was watching it back in 2012, I would have definitely liked SAO better.
I think I would have liked SAO better too.
I agree with that. Now,
it's definitely better than Magi.
Knowing what I know now, yeah, Psycho-Pass beats it hands down. Sword Art had the biggest fall off, well, one of the biggest fall offs of all time.
Yes, but you can't, like, again, you gotta, to me, I still, even now, would try to compare first season to first season, not the show entirety, because we haven't watched the rest of Psycho-Pass.
I think Psycho-Pass is still better than the first season of SAO.
See, for me, rewatchability, I'd have to say Sword Art.
That is a very,
because I can rewatch the first season of Sword Art. I've rewatched a lot. Psycho-Pass, I think the first season is good, but I don't know if that would be something I could sit back and watch again and again and again.
So for me, I think it is. I think this time actually watching it, I enjoyed it more than the first time I watched it. And I think for me, it would get better every time that I watch Psycho-Pass because I'd be understanding and seeing more of the things. So I've just finished all of Psycho-Pass and I want to go back through and watch all again.
I don't know. I'm definitely with Brent. Like Psycho-Pass, I've always wanted to rewatch it, but it's just a lot. The rewatchability of SAO is quite tremendous, but the entirety of Psycho-Pass, the way Psycho-Pass is laid out, there is no wasted minutes in all of Psycho-Pass, and it's not rushed. So I think it has one of the best pacings / story of all time, in my opinion.
I'll second that. Like I said, having gotten to actually watch everything, or caught up right now, it is actually, to me, is pretty insane what they've done. So I'm very excited to do another more hot takes of this. Also, to just final thing on the Psycho Pass is not really on Psycho Pass, but it's also something that we've talked about wanting to do, and I think we should start it with this very first hot takes, or this kind of not very first hot takes we've done, but the first one in a long time. But I think we should maybe pull up a fresh tier list.
Yes.
It's called a hot takes tier list, and we'll rank it, and then we'll keep this documented over every hot takes episode that we do. And if we have to adjust it, we can adjust it and all that stuff. But
Yep. Who
I
wants
agree.
to do it?
I'll do
Blake's
it.
pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Now, are we doing the show, or are we doing
The entire show.
well, no, like not the entire show, but I'm just saying, are we doing the show, or are we doing like the character?
I'll do the show.
Okay.
I think the show.
Okay. This is tough. I mean, I would honestly rank it as, for just season 1, I'd rank it as an S, but
No.
As an S.
No.
yeah, what would you? I mean, it's no lower than an A.
Low way.
A low A. What are you smoking? Are you smoking crack? You got crack in your pipe over there or something? What? Low
I
A.
don't even own a pipe.
Low A.
Yeah. I'm saying low A. That's my wager.
Low S. What, you want A minuses in here? Is that what you're wanting? You want me to?
I'm just saying that, like,
No, he's just saying
it's fine
A,
in
Kyle.
the A.
He
I
just-
just think I'm just saying though, for me it would be on the low end of A, but it's still in A. I don't want you going at A plus, A minuses, all that shit. That's just too much tedious bullshit.
But why is it not S though?
Bro, it's not.
Why
S.
is it S? I guess that's.
What do you mean? It's freaking got a phenomenal story. It's got
Yeah,
great
sure.
characters. It's a unique premise. It has a lot of complex intertwinings. It has.
Yeah,
But you said yourself, it's not as rewatchable as other shows that you would watch.
Rewatchable
So-
doesn't play into my rankings at all. That's just personal
okay.
preference. Like
mean, it plays a little bit- it plays a little bit of factor
so
in
here's the thing.
mine,
If
like-
if I have to, so if I'm between two shows and I have to like figure out which one's better and they're pretty much on par, then I go into rewatchability. I mean, this is just how I think, but like it doesn't really, I don't know.
See, to me, rewatchability is always part of my ranking because that can make a big difference of it being an S class show, an A class
Not
show.
really,
it's
like it all depends on emotional impact on you, or like how good it was, which doesn't always translate
no,
into rewatchability. Because like for me, I don't watch a lot of really good shows because I just want to relax and watch something that I don't really have to pay attention to, which is why I watch SAO, because I don't have to pay attention to it, and I just get a dopamine hit essentially. I don't know how else to phrase it.
I see both sides of this thing because, like, I don't know. There's a part of me that whatever, but there's another part of me where if you rewatch a show a bunch of times, obviously you like that show over a bunch of other shows.
No, that just means
Like,
you
for me,
could.
like,
well, for me, that just means it's simple enough
dude.
that I can rewatch.
No, dude, you don't rewatch Food Wars fucking a million times because you like and you gotta say you don't like Food Wars over really good shows.
It can mean that I like the show above a bunch of other ones, but it also can mean that I just want something that I don't
If you
really have to pay attention to.
Yes, but also if you rewatch it, I know, but you have to like the show enough to be able to rewatch it that many times. You're not gonna rewatch a show you don't like.
Yeah, who
just
said
because
who
it's
didn't
easy
say
to
that? I'm
watch.
not saying I don't like the show,
I know, but to me, it does kind of suggest.
but
that
it
you like
doesn't
that
it doesn't
show
suggest
more
how
than-
much you like it. No, it just suggests that you like it. It doesn't suggest how much you like it.
To me, if I really, really like a
Yeah,
show,
I can see
I
what you're
will select and hack that show and rewatch it a bunch.
I'm fine with A. I think we're all in agreement
saying. Yeah,
on
I
A.
think A looks. I think A looks good, especially for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will be interested how if we go through how it'll stack up against some of these other shows.
I'll be interested to see when we complete Psycho Pass, like watch the other seasons and finish the show, where our feelings are going to be about where it's sitting at.